pro tip for everybody out there. Instead of negotiating on the price, I always recommend negotiating on seller concession. That way we can, get the interest rate down. Seller can help buy down the interest rate, get the payments lower, and over the next 5-10 years, you're saving $50,000 to $100,000 over the term of the loan,
depending on the price.
Right.
Of the house.
Yeah. We're lucky today. We have Dion with Artisan Mortgage at our open house. We're running that today from 1 to 2:30. What are your pro tips on getting the interest rates down?
Pro tip number 1, don't be afraid to pay more than the asking price. This house is listed for $175,000. We might offer 6 or 7% above the asking price so that we can get the seller to negotiate for 6% in seller's help. That might be more attractive to the seller than someone trying to underbid. So oftentimes you will win the deal by netting the seller their $175,000, and then you, the home buyer, have that 6% seller's help to either buy the interest rate down or offset your closing costs.
Yeah, that's a good strategy, because at the end of the day, the seller, all they care about is their net proceeds. And if you're giving them the full asking price, all you're doing is adjusting the price up so the seller can give you back the 6%.
Seller nets what they get. You, the home buyer, potentially get a much lower interest rate, and you also get money to offset your closing costs. Maybe establishing your escrow account with the seller's money.
Yeah, true. Our last transaction, we were able to negotiate 6% seller help. We use that to buy down the interest rate from 7.5 down to 5.5. Approximately, yeah. And that saved them a ton of money. Plus, now you're in a situation where the buyer, they don't have to refinance in the near future.
Potentially, getting a lower rate can only be good. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you the directions of interest rates, but I know 5.5 is better than 7.5.
100%. The other thing I wanted to ask you about is the Fed's currently just recently lowered the rate.
Lowered the overnight Fed funds rate. That's the interbanking rate that banks charge themselves to borrow overnight money.
And I noticed that didn't bring down the interest rate.
It did not bring down the interest rate on mortgages. It did not bring down the interest rate on most consumer loans, car loans, particularly credit cards. So don't confuse the overnight lending rate with 30-year fixed rate mortgage rates. Ever since the summer, when the Fed first announced that they were lowering the Fed funds rate, mortgage rates have done just about nothing but go up. And that is the hard, cold reality.
That is true. What about what really affects the mortgage rate then?
So if you really want to know the pinnings of how the market works on determining mortgages, become a student of the 10-year Treasury rate. Whatever that 10-year Treasury rate is on U.S. government debt for 10 years, that's going to give you a much better indication as to where your mortgage rate is going to be. If that 10-year Treasury yield drops down, most likely mortgage rates will drop down. If that 10-year Treasury yield moves up, most likely mortgage rates are going to move up. It's really tracking that 10-year U.S. government Treasury bond yield.
So keep an eye out for that.
Yep.
Okay. That's a phenomenal pro tip, guys. Where can they reach you, Dion?
Easiest way to get a hold of me is my work mobile number, 717-571-0194. My name is Dion, D-I-O-N, Goolman, G-O-O-L-M-A-N. If you Google me, I'm the only one that's going to show up.
#1 lender here in the area. Thanks, guys. Until the next pro tip.